enthusiast Seventh-day Adventists, a revival of original Adventism and ancient Christianity presents Escape for Thy Life, a program explaining prophecy, current affairs, theological issues, rights and freedoms, health issues, natural disasters, comparative religion, pioneer history, creation versus evolution, escape for thy life. Good day, this is Brother Medina for Enthusiast Seventh-day Adventist, and please let us start with a word of prayer. Loving Father, please be with us as we enter into your word. Bless all our listeners and let them see that time is coming soon to an end and that they may prepare. In Jesus' holy name we pray, amen. Well, our study today is events to bring the end are coming. Events to bring the end are coming. And my dear people, we are living in the last days where the events that shall bring in the last final test for mankind that will decide the final destiny of the earth's teeming billions, these events are already beginning to happen. Yes, my dear people, this is how close we have reached to the time of the end. In the Bible, here is exactly what we are told. We look at Luke chapter 21 and we read verse 25 and verse 26. Here is what we are told, I quote, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken." Yes, my dear people. So here you see very carefully that there will be distress of nations upon the face of the earth. And when we are told distress of nations upon the face of the earth, it is like the United States of America, the nations of Europe, and all the nations of the world that we are looking at. In fact, my dear people, we are told that when these things begin to happen, we know that the end is about to come. Again, in Luke chapter 21, if we look at verse 28, here is what we are told. I quote, "And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh." Yes, my dear people. So we know for sure that our redemption draweth nigh when these things begin to happen, because we are living way down in the closing scenes of this earth's history. Now, one of the nations, one of the major nations that is being referred to when we are being told of distress of nations is the United States of America. And I have in my hand here the Constitution of the United States, a pocket constitution of the United States, and the Declaration of Independence. I am reading for you the First Amendment right. Here is what we are told, I quote, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." Now, this is the First Amendment right. You know, there is religious liberty in this right. You've seen freedom of speech in this right. You see freedom of the press in this right. You see also the rights of the people to peaceably assemble and petition government, which is the rights of protest. All these are in the First Amendment right. And yet this whole First Amendment right is under assault today. It is being attacked today by the current administration in the United States of America. Also by the President and by Congress. This is what we are talking about. If we look at Revelation chapter 13 and we look at verse 11, the country that is brought to view in this prophecy is the United States of America. We are told it is to speak like a dragon. It is lamb-like, yet it speaks like a dragon, and the dragon is the devil and Satan, we are told. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 11, here is what we are told, I quote, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." This is the United States of America. And while we are told he will speak like a dragon, it means that his constitution and his policies will change, speaking and acting like the devil, which takes away the rights and freedoms of man. In fact, in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 12, we are told that this means that when the United States starts to persecute Christians, the whole world, listen to me carefully, the whole nations of the world will follow in the example of the United States of America. In Revelation chapter 13 and verse 12, here is what we are told. "And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." Yes, my dear people. So we are seeing that the whole world will follow after the example of America. Yes, my dear people, this country is to set up an image of the beast system of government. And this is what the image of the beast is. It is a system of government. We call it commuligion, not communism, commuligion, from communism and religion together. And it identifies a type of government that takes away your rights and freedoms like communism, while it enforces religion. So we call it commuligion. And that's the image of the beast system that this country is to set up. Yes, my dear people. And this image of the beast system will take away your rights and freedoms. If we read Revelation chapter 13, verse 15 to verse 17, here is what we are told, I quote, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Yes, my dear people, this is exactly what we are being told here that this country is going to do. And the whole world is going to follow the example from this country. So what we are looking at here in this program are a series of video footage taken from the YouTube that shows events to bring in the end, in that the first right in its various parts are being subverted. So in these first sets of footage, you're going to see religious liberty under assault by the United States government. So pay careful attention to these clips.
Listen to this. They're talking about First Amendment rights, and the Constitution, and I appreciate that. But, Mr. President, that is so senseless.
It gets to that interesting point, to me, which is frightening, when the state starts telling the church what to do.
That violates their conscience.
This is not a women's rights issue. This is a religious liberty issue.
I object.
This is about whether the government of the United States should have the power to go in and tell a faith-based organization that they have to pay for something that they teach their members shouldn't be doing.
I object.
This shouldn't happen in a land where free exercise of religion ranks first in the Bill of Rights.
I object.
This decision goes counter to that founding principle.
I object.
President Obama is not only trampling religious liberties, but he's also confirming
the latest intrusion here into individual religious liberty, but represents what we believe is an unacceptable growth in the size and scope of the federal government.
I object.
I've spent a lot of time in my life defending the First Amendment.
I object.
This is about the First Amendment. It's about religious beliefs.
Well, forget whether then it's immoral. Judge Andrew Napolitano says what the administration is trying to do here is actually illegal. Explain, Judge.
The Cardinal's talking about the 10 Amendments. He's talking about the First Amendment. The first clause, the first sentence of the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of religion or interfering with the free exercise thereof. So Congress cannot interfere with the ordinary religious practices of any faith-based group. The Catholic Church has been opposed to contraception for 400 years. Pope Paul VI affirmed that in a permanent way in 1968.
The church is never going to change.
The church is never going to change, and the church is well known. The church's position on this is well known. This is not an issue about the morality of contraception. This is an issue about the government interfering with the internal works of an established religious organization by taking money from them because they refuse to follow a law. The church is being fined, or will be fined if this isn't changed, for not purchasing insurance coverage for its female employees who require, even its male employees who require contraceptive information and medical advice.
Well, could they fulfill the requirement by just directing their people elsewhere?
They could fulfill the requirement by leaving those people to follow their own consciences, and they could fulfill the requirement by just giving them health insurance that doesn't cover this. They could fulfill that requirement as a moral obligation to their people, but that will not satisfy the government. The government, which now tells us, A, you must have health insurance, and B, here's the kind of health insurance you must have, is telling every Catholic institution, from something as large as the University of Notre Dame, of which I am a graduate, to as small as St. Margaret Mary Flower Pot Church downtown with the priest and the janitor and the secretary, that every one of them has to make contraception available to all of their employees, and if they don't, the government will fine them, and the government will provide that to the employees. That's what interferes with the free exercise of religion.
Would this issue come up with the Supreme Court weighing this whole thing, or is it a sidelight, or one that would influence the decision? Hey, this is getting a bit too interesting.
Actually, the issues have already been framed before the court, and the briefs have already probably been written, though they haven't been filed, and this is not among them.
But
so,
is it noise that could influence a decision like that?
It is noise that could influence a decision like that because the members of the court are human beings. But they shouldn't. They should just look at the issues before them.
Understood, Judge. Thank you very much.
In these clips that you're looking at here, the subversion of the current way government functions according to the Constitution that prevents tyranny, this current form is going, and it is preparing the way for the setting up of the image of the beast system of communion. So this has begun. So observe in these clips that the president is learning and has begun to bypass Congress. All this prepares the way for tyranny and the setting up of the image of the beast. Pay attention to these clips.
This is the way a republic ends. Now, I get it. I mean, the the president really, really, really wants to work with Congress. He really does, but they don't really agree with him, and it is a crisis. So he's got to go to the authoritative level, you know, and tell everybody what to do. Yeah, there's a word for that. I'm trying to remember what it is. I remember. Dictate. That's what somebody who's going to dictate. Wait a minute, that would make somebody a... No. Gee, just think how much he can get done. Hail Caesar. I'm not sure which is more disturbing, Obama testing the waters here, or the fact that the people cheered. Which do you think? Cheer? It is a pattern. People cheering on a dictator wannabe. Watch this pattern.
The Senate blocked a bill that would have created this commission. So I'll issue an executive order that will allow us to go forward, because I refuse to pass this problem on to another generation of Americans. I know some here wish that I could just bypass Congress and change the law myself. I know there's some folks who wish I could just bypass Congress. I can't. Now, I know some people want me to bypass Congress and change the laws on my own. Believe me. And believe me, right now, dealing with Congress, the idea but believe me, the idea of doing things on my own is very tempting.
Anybody ever see the episode where I talked about that former Czech Republic editorial, where they said the problem is not Obama, the problem is the American people? Because if they fall for it this time, they'll fall for somebody worse next time. It's the American people. How many times did he say, you know, there are people that want me to bypass? He's setting the road. He's plowing the field. That's all he's doing. And the people are cheering him to violate the Constitution. Excuse me, but I believe the president took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Two thoughts on this one. The enemies are inside the gates. The enemies are the defenders. And does anybody remember how hard it was for this man who just never blows a line to take the oath? Do you remember that? When he took the oath, he screwed it up so badly, he had to take it without us watching him take it, which is strange, the next day. There's one more thing. He doesn't like the Constitution. He loathes the Constitution. He calls it a charter of negative liberties. He believes it should be a charter of positive liberties. That's like, you know what? I really love the color orange. If it were just green, then it would be great. But that's nothing against orange. It just should be green. He's fundamentally transforming, not protecting our Constitution and our country. We are living. Did anybody read that? I don't expect anybody did. Anybody read Philip Drew, Administrator? Not a soul. Good for you. You guys were smart. I recommended that like 2 years ago, and nobody read that. It's one of the worst books I've ever read. I mean, just poor literature. It's bad. It was Woodrow Wilson's favorite book. And when I started reading about Woodrow Wilson, I wanted to get into his mind and see what he was thinking. So I figured, you know, I wanted to find out what he was reading all the time. He read this book 3 times. It is the blueprint for what we're going through right now. Philip Drew, Administrator, a guy who just wants to serve. That's it. He just wants to serve. He just wants to help. But he can't be president. He shouldn't be president. No, he'll just be an administrator. And he'll go outside of the Constitution. It's exactly what we're living now. And Barack Obama has surrounded the Constitution with boards and commissions and agencies, and he'll just administrate. They have the power of the economy. They can control it. Business. They can control everything, and they don't have to answer to Congress. He is putting a pillow over the face of our system. The founders created this system with the intent of slowing madmen down. That's why it's so arduous. That's the trouble with our system. That's the beauty of our system. They created it to slow people like this down. Give you enough time to catch your breath and say, whoa, 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 wait a minute, wait, stop. He is replacing this with a system that answers only to him or people like him.
In these following set of clips that you're going to be looking at here, you will see that the right to protest, coupled with free speech together, is being attacked by the United States government. So pay attention to these clips and see it.
Well, it's a bill that has received very little attention, but may make free speech a felony and seriously restrict your right to political protest. Just signed into law by the president, H.R. 347 gives federal agents sweeping powers to arrest and bring felony charges against citizens engaged in protests where the Secret Service is present. Joining us now with more, Fox News senior judicial analyst, good friend, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, the thing that jumps out off the page, felony?
Yeah, felony means more than a year in jail. This is not like a traffic ticket. For standing and protesting, the type of thing that for 230 years Americans took for granted because it was protected by the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, has actually been abridged by legislation the president signed last Thursday, supported overwhelmingly by both parties, with very, very little public debate and very little debate in Congress. Basically allows Secret Service agents to decide where there are no free speech zones, not speech zones, no free speech zones. And anybody by the Secret Service can, protected by the Secret Service, can ask those agents to ban protests wherever they are. So I can think of 3 violations: speech violations, association violations, the right to petition the government for a redress of your grievances. What good is free speech if the people in the government are so far away from you that they can't hear you?
Judge, what about keeping our elected officials safe?
Keeping our elected officials safe is entirely different from insulating them from protest. The fact that the president is going to a hotel up the block should not bar you from standing across the street with a sign or with a bullhorn saying what you think about the president's policies. That is not a threat to him, and it is a part of American history since day one that we have the right to speak freely to, about, and against those in the government.
Judge, do you think this is going to be one of those laws that is on the books but not enforced?
I think it's one of those laws that's going to be enforced when the government wants it enforced. The problem, Eric, is it puts a lot of unbridled discretion in the hands of Secret Service agents who may very well say, you know what, boss, you've had a rough day. We'll keep everybody away from you. Or, you know what, boss, this crowd likes you, so we're going to let them, we're going to let you hear them. That's suppressing speech on the basis of its content. And that has been expressly prohibited by the First Amendment since day one.
What dictates the Secret Service is present? In other words, aren't they present all over Washington, D.C.?
Well, they are, and that's a great question, because this law also allows the president to give Secret Service protection to whoever he wants. I'll give you a bizarre example. His campaign managers are coming to Washington to confer with him about the campaign. He can give them Secret Service protection. And then the Secret Service can say to the kids in the streets, you can't shout at David Axelrod, because the campaign manager, because the Secret Service is protecting him. This is a slow, creeping destruction of some of our basic liberties, and the president signed it in secret.
And now some of the Secret Service are going to be providing services for the candidates now as well, right?
Correct.
So
correct.
People aren't going to be able to have their opinion about the candidates?
If the Secret Service so declares, you won't be able to shout at them.
Something just came up like a day ago. There was a bill called the Trespass Bill. It's called HR 347. It'll basically allow anyone, like, let's just say there's a political rally, it will make it illegal to protest against certain individuals or any place where the Secret Service is, or if you want to protest against any politician at the rallies. This is a major attack on the First Amendment. It's called HR 347 Trespass Bill. It will give the Secret Service and basically the Congress the ability not to allow you to protest against them. And Congress, I think it was like 380 votes for it, or 3 voted against it. This shows you that the Congress, they're not doing their job, and now they're trying to shut you up by turning the law enforcement and the Secret Service against the people.
Now, we are offering here, in the light of all that you've seen, we are offering here for you a 7-hour-long, 2-disc documentary movie. Yes, my dear people, one of the latest movies we have made. It is 7 hours long, and it is a 2-disc documentary. It is called American Dragon. American Dragon. And what you are looking at here now is an advertisement about it. So you can call us at 625-0446 and we will send you a copy of this 7-hour, 2-disc long movie, American Dragon. And what you are seeing before you here is our web addresses where you can get literature, you can get what we call studies, you can get DVDs that have been downloaded on the internet that you can see for yourself. Now take these things that we have told you very seriously because the end is coming very soon and you need to escape for your life. May God bless you until we meet again in Jesus' holy name. Amen.